Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Anya Farber, your host of the Zionist AF podcast. I am so excited today. I'm just so excited because, Tova is so excited. Tova is down here. Aval, Tova's being lo Tova. She's being ra'a. Sit, please. Yeah, she's just looking at me like, listen, lady, I'm excited. I want to see her. I want to see Jess. We are welcoming Jess today. And before Jess introduces herself, Tova is settling down now, Jess. She knows that you wanted her. You were willing
She's
her
just so
to sit.
excited.
I know. She also is hoping to spy on your poodle there. But I just met Jess, and I met Jess because of Hillel Fooled. Hey, Hillel. Hillel was just on our program again. He was repeating, repeat guesting. I don't know. Is that a thing? Repeat guesting? I don't know. We'll make it a phrase. So Hillel, way to be the pioneer, repeat guesting. And he had reposted something that you had. And so finally, the algorithms were working in my favor and not putting me in the naughty corner. And I got to see this amazing post of yours. So Jess, could you introduce yourself and then maybe go into a little bit about, that post or some of the stuff that you're speaking out. And by the way, guys, I am so excited because she sounds so fun to talk to because of her fancy accent. I don't think you're from the Bronx or anything, Jess, are you?
Not
it doesn't
quite.
sound quite.
Not quite.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. And I don't think it's Brooklyn either. Maybe we'll just let, instead of everyone guessing, we'll just let you tell us.
Amazing. Hi, everyone. I am Jess. I'm known as Jewish Jess, which is interesting and I love it. I am from London, which is not interesting and I don't love it. I am 30 years old and I have been advocating for Israel since the 7th of October 2023. And I have not stopped since then. I've been very firm. I've posted every single day since the horrendous day of the 7th of October. I started off initially sort of looking to just debunk a lot of the pro-Palestinian lunatics across all the platforms. But as my account sort of evolved, my content did as well. I got in a lot of trouble for a lot of the stuff that I was posting.
You were posting factual information that had already been verified, and the algorithms and self-loathing people who run some of these social media had put you in the naughty corner, Jess? Oh.
How dare they? I know, right?
Shocking.
Their moderation team specifically on TikTok is horrendous.
Oh, well, yeah.
So I've sort of learned my way as to how to weave around all the trouble that I could potentially get in. So as I sort of learned that, my content did evolve slightly. So now I mix it up. I do a little bit of debunking here and there. But for the most part, I just report every single day on the news, whether that's about the hostages or the war itself, or even about Trump and his advocacy for Israel. It changes.
Donald Trump, Jess and I are happy to talk to you. Jess is volunteering to come on and co-host that day. It could be very international. Listen, Donald Trump, Mr. President, sir, I did vote for you. I mean, my family already hates me for that, but I did vote for you. More than one time. Well, you can't legally.
I know, but if he was, I mean, Trump, if you're ever going to come on this podcast, please know that a lot of British people would like to co-opt you and bring you over to the UK and adopt you. We would really appreciate it.
Well, he's on his second term now, Jess. So listen, Donald, I'm just saying. I'm not making fun of him. I think this is one of the funniest things that he does. And he repeats himself. He's like, I'm just saying, in case you weren't listening to me the first time, because apparently a lot of people were not, but they're listening now.
They are.
I will tell you that. So I'm just saying, Mr. President, you are welcome. And Jess will definitely come on. And potentially, after the second term, perhaps you might want a second residency in. Now, is it the UK? Because I said the UK one time, and I said England another time, and a guest corrected me. And I also learned all about the difference between West London and East London.
I'm in North London, so I'm in a different area.
We're going to need a new tutorial now, because I didn't know that there was. Is there a South London?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, all right, guys, maybe we'll learn the other lines of London today.
For sure. No, but it is. It's the UK. So the UK is obviously the United Kingdom, and in the United Kingdom, there's England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. So when we're speaking specifically about England, it's just England. But when we're talking about the broader who the Prime Minister governs, it would be the United Kingdom.
See, guys, there's a lot of factual information coming out on Zionist AF. We don't just talk about facts about Israel. We talk about facts about, I know this is crazy. There's an area, it's not America. It's just within this thing called a continent, Europe. And this is what we're talking about. So just, geographically, from the river to the sea, that's not where we're talking about, but it's Israel has and always will be. Jess, I'm gonna have to make sure to get you that. My actually our mutual person, Mr. Hillel Fooled, had reposted that of mine. I wrote, "From the river to the sea, Israel has and always will be," and I actually made it into a whole thing because
Amazing.
I understand that sometimes we have to break it down into rhymes for some people to understand. I believe you called them the lunatics.
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah. I mean, because it's so absurd sometimes, the things like, so Jess, being in London, I'm not sure. I mean, I know what I see on the news, but I'm not physically in London, so I cannot tell you, like, I do not have eyewitness testimony here. I mean, for me, it cracks me up, and I do laugh at them. When I see these people with, like, 1,000 piercings, different colored hair, like if they're a woman, they're hanging out, and they got short shorts, and they have a keffiyeh, which they think is just like an accessory, like perhaps around their waist, or like, tied here, or maybe they're wearing it as a shirt. I think I did see that once too, and I was like, they'll drag your body through the street and huck you off a roof too. They just want to throw
100%.
Jess and I first. I'm just saying. Well,
100%.
It's not happening. Jess, I think for the Jewish Jess item for Zionist AF shop, I kind of feel like the Bahat fucking cha phrase might have to appear somewhere, but maybe really small, or I don't know if you've heard me say that either on social media or on the podcast before, but I was trying really hard, Jess, and because you're from London, I feel like you're already more proper and you have better manners, or I don't know if that's just this preconceived notion, but you already
wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Sounds nicer if you insult someone, and if I insult someone, I feel like it just still sounds nicer coming from you. But whereas like my father's Bronx influence, like all of a sudden, like when I get mad, it's like I'm like, I was not raised in New York. I was raised in Connecticut. There's no accent.
When I get mad, mine just sounds very authoritarian. It sounds very like I'm a teacher-student situation, but I get mad.
Good. Well, sometimes you got to pull out that teacher voice, Jess, because it's one of the only things people listen to. But, my mother told me I was swearing too much. And so I tried really hard. So I was like, all right, I'll do what the people from the South, from the U.S. do, well, bless your heart. God bless you. No, they're telling you to F off, but they're doing it like in the Southern way. So I was like, okay, I got this. All right. To make my mom happy, I'm going to be like, and then I got so mad one day. I was like, fucking cha, you morons. And then I was like, wait a minute. I love it. I love this. I love this. I did a test run. Like, I just printed a few, wore them to Israel. People were stopping me in the street, and they were like,
I love that.
Okay,
that.
but just so you know, because I know you can't, you would only hear it. But when you see the shirt, and I'll try to grab one. I think I have one behind me, but it's once on the front and 6 times on the back, because not 7, because even I need a day off because it's exhausting.
It is. There's no rest for the wicked, though. I wish that I got a day off, but literally, if I have a day off, then this rhetoric and this hate is just going to continue without me, and they're not going to continue doing that without me interjecting my big mouth. No way.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about that, Jess. So you are choosing, and I think that this is something that I want to make sure, I will never stop calling attention to this. Now, October 7th was one of the most disgusting, despicable days that has ever happened in the world in which we reside in. The depths of depravity, inhumane acts disgusting things that I choose not to even bring up because I'm not going to give them the satisfaction that were planned and carried out. That is a fact that is never going away. Aval. But we, as a people, have chosen to be light. Now, within Judaism, we're commanded to be light. We're commanded to celebrate even in the darkest of times. And even when we celebrate, we also remember the dark times. Like, we're a very complicated people. But it's not just Jews, okay? It is Christians who are speaking up. It is Muslims that are speaking up. It is Druze, like my sister from another Mr. Anya. Shalom etuka. She's Israeli Druze, and she speaks up on behalf of Israel. Doing a lot of debunking as well. And I love when people are like, a what? And I'm like, Druze, Druze. Like, do people live under rocks? I don't even know. Like, I don't understand how you don't know these things.
Sadly, I mean, people try to wipe them from history. I won't get too far into it, but they've sort of been subjugated and pushed to the side. So not many people know that they exist, which is really sad.
Yes, and they exist in other countries too. It's like, but all right, But again, I blame our educational systems and our lack of interest, just an interest in actually learning. So on that note, I would like to learn more about, share one of your more recent posts. The reason that I even, I reached out, I was like, and I was all mad. I was like, how did I not know who she was before? And it's so hard because sometimes, even people you follow and in real life and you are like seeing on a regular basis, sometimes you're like, wait, I don't see them in my feed anymore.
Yeah.
And then you have to go search it out. So talk to us a little bit about kind of what went into that post and why you are continuing, because I'm sure you're getting a lot of feedback. Some of it's not nice, but you know what I keep telling myself? I live rent free in their head.
I really do as well. I'm like public enemy number 1 in the UK. And I'm absolutely okay with that because the people that are despising me here are not people worthy of me even caring about. So I'm like, bring it on. But essentially what went into that post is the same as what goes into all of my posts. I have a lot of family in Israel. I have a lot of friends in Israel. I have visited Israel more times than I can count. There's been periods where I've thought I'm going to live there, I'm going to move there. For me, the connection to Israel goes so much more beyond the fact that I have connections there. It's just that inexplicable feeling when a Jewish person steps off the plane in Israel and you feel like you're home, even though it's not your home. That to me is what connects me to Israel, and that is sort of what drives me to continue doing what I do every day. Obviously, what happened on October the 7th is the most demonic thing I've ever seen. It is the most inexcusable thing I have ever seen. What I saw afterwards, with the way that the world reacted, is what has driven me and motivated me every single day since. So it's been 16 months. It's been 437 days, I think, tomorrow when the hostages get released. And every day since then has got incrementally worse in terms of anti-Semitism, in terms of blood libels, in terms of hatred and lies about the Jewish people. And it started on October the 7th. It was a pre-organized hate campaign. And I essentially sat back on October the 7th and I said, there is no way this is happening in my name. I have got too big of a Jewish mouth to ever let this happen without interjecting.
Are we related?
Maybe, who knows? But I couldn't sit there. I don't do this. I'm not an influencer. I've never thought that I'd end up doing this kind of thing. I never thought I'd wake up and have so many followers. But I did, and now it's sort of my duty to carry on. But that sounds almost as if it's like a responsibility, but I don't see it as that. For me, this is something I love doing, and I love the community that I've built, and I love the people that I've met so much that this doesn't feel like a duty. It feels like my passion. It feels like something I love doing, and they will never shut me up, never.
And if they try, you got this friend right here. I'm ready to defend you and stand next to you. And I Yes. And by the way, Eitan Shataya, this is for you. Jess, I couldn't agree with you more. She can chuckle because she knows the
I've heard all about it.
Listen, I can't apologize for having amazing, smart people on the podcast. And when they say great things, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Be like, well, that was an interesting point. No, I couldn't agree with you more because you're smart. So I'm telling you.
We just have a really smart community, you know? It's
I
just hard not to agree.
I know. And by the way, if you don't have one of those shirts, Eitan, you need to get Jess and I'm That Jew shirt. But she might, well, we might have to zhuzh it up a bit. But what you were saying, it's like, I feel like it's, I'll go ahead and use the word. It's like our tachlis, right? It's part of our identity, right? And I think, before I forget, I'm moving to Israel. So you are welcome.
When?
I am moving as soon as my son graduates from high school. I'm moving in the summer. I'm making aliyah. My paperwork, nefesh b'nefesh, is in the thank you, is in the works. So you are welcome to visit, and we can do. Maybe we'll do some of the like roaming street stuff. I do like roaming street interviews sometimes, which is fun.
Love it.
And I wear funny shirts that say things like "Ani lo mivina."
It'd be a lot safer for me to do the roaming street stuff there than it is in London, definitely.
You know what? Thank you, Jess. And it's as if I told her to do that, which I actually did not. I want to go ahead and make and kind of let's address that, because I tell people this all the time when I get, oh my God, why would you go to Israel right now? Isn't it like a dangerous place? And I'm like, well, even within the current situation where there are rockets being fired every single day, and the neighbors are still trying to annihilate it, I am still, statistically speaking, like, it is proven with these crazy things called facts, so much safer in Israel. Okay, when you or I walk around Israel, we could walk around. Okay, Tel Aviv, major city. You could be walking back from a restaurant, a club, or whatever, friend's house, at like 1 a.m, 3 a.m. If you saw someone else on the street, which you will because it's Tel Aviv, it's like New York and Miami got together in a torrid love affair and had a sexy baby, and it's Tel Aviv.
Very sexy.
Yeah. And so, like, I've been walking back or walking somewhere, and if I see like a guy coming the other way on the street, like they give you room. Like they walk out, like just to like be like, we're good. Or I have, had instances where I was like on a street and, just in my own head and had a thought, and I must have had like this look on my face, like, oh, this is not good. And people were like, like, I'm like, what? And that, right. And I'm still in my own head. So I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, English? Okay, no problem. Are you okay? I'm like,
oh, that's lovely.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's the instance where, I was on, this is our, phone case.
Love that.
I was on my little phone. Okay. And stupid Anya left the portable charger in the bag and didn't take it with her that day, and was on the phone, filming, interviewing. My battery died. Forgot the name of the place where I was supposed to meet my friend, didn't have his number because it was in my phone that was dead. Like, when I explained to people, oh, my phone's dead, like, people went out of their way to help me, digging through their back. Oh, no, and I have an Apple, and a lot of people have non-Apples there and whatever. It was like, finally, this one guy was like, okay, go down the street. There's a pizza place. My friend, I'm calling him right now. I'm telling him to get the cords out. He has cords. He also has free Wi-Fi. And I told him to put a glass of water down because it's hot out. And I was like,
that's so Israeli, isn't it? It's just so menschy.
Right. And now here's the flip side. I was in the city. I was in New York City walking back from the Israeli consulate, actually. So I was walking back from Embassy Way to Grand Central Station, minding my own business with the hundreds and thousands of people all over the street. And I was actually attacked, just randomly attacked from behind. I believe it was probably 2 illegal migrants trying to just, grab something and go. But they did not expect what I did back.
Yeah.
But not a single person just stopped to help me. I mean, people actually like stepped over me as they had knocked me to the ground. Like, not a single person.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're in Israel. Right. If that
in
happens,
Israel. Go on.
you got someone giving you food, someone giving you water, someone who's tackled the person that attacked you, someone else
Yeah.
who's gone to get the police. I mean,
And this is what I say is in Israel, even though there's the existential threat from all of these hostile countries that surround you, you are with your people and your people protect you. And there is no bigger, greater love than the Jewish community. And regardless of sort of who you are or where you're from, you go to Israel and you know that you're with your people and you are safe, regardless.
And the other thing I think that is important to point out is that within Israel, it's not just Jews that live there, guys. I was talking about Rania before. There are Druze, there are Muslims, there are Christians, there are, I don't want to leave anyone out, but I also don't want to spend the rest of the podcast naming every other religion that you could be, because Israel is the only place in the Middle East where you could worship freely. But that's another thing. In Israel, when you are, if something happened, like you fell, or the car broke down, of the 6, I think 4 to 6 is the average number, I think, that stops, right? Like,
Yeah.
Of the 4 to 6 people, it is entirely possible that one of them is an Israeli Muslim. And they're not like waiting to check, like, oh, she got Judaica on? Does she have a cross on? What's going on? No, they stop and help you because Israelis are Israelis. And so that's it.
Exactly. And if anything happens to me in London and I fell over and they saw me with my big Jewish, my Star of David or my map of Israel, they would leave me on the floor and kick me in the head.
Or your map of Israel. Yeah. And I like, you gave your age and, you're an adult, but you're still like in your, the younger part of your adulthood. Like, did you ever think that would be the reality that you're like, okay, well, because I wear a Star of David, a Magen David, or because I have a map of Israel, or because I'm wearing hostage tags. I don't know why I couldn't say that at the same time. But also, I don't know. I think you're too young to even know what this is. But I have also on my hostage tag because I found it recently.
Yeah. I do know why is that? I've seen that before. It's an old coin.
But it's a specific coin for the
payphone.
Okay.
Oh, I love that. That's so nice. That's a nice little keepsake.
Yes, when I was 16 and in Israel, and before we left, a bunch of us had like the whole hair thing done, and then a couple of us were like, let's use our last phone coins and have them woven into there. And then I like rocked that for a while. Listen, don't hate me. It was the late 90s. I mean, listen, it was like cool. That. Listen, I love the thumb ring part of the 90s, and I'm bringing it back, Jess. I'm bringing it back.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, listen, if it's not clear with like all of this and my shirt and like I wear a lot of Judaica jewelry, and all of my silver is Israeli silver. Every single piece is made by an artist in Israel. Some of whom I've like literally purchased from them directly and know them personally, or sometimes I just know their shops. So we always tell people, if you're looking for anything, please just DM me and I'm happy to just shoot you over whoever it is, because I want people to continue to support Israel. And I think that what you're doing every day by advocating, even though it puts you with a big bullseye, and a target for people's hate, which hats the fucking cha to all of you, because you're not going to touch a hair on her head, because I will rain holy hell. I mean, she's going to kick your ass, but then I'm going to rain holy hell on whatever's left of you, because what is wrong with you? Like, we have to be together. We have to be a light, and you are such a light. And I have to tell you, like, from what I see, just the coverage of what's going on in London, I kind of want to be like, dude, what the hell? Like, you people are supposed to be proper. And also, I don't know. Listen, King Charles, like, we know you're not your mom, but, and I know your family's a hot mess and it's your fault. I'm saying this, she's not. I'm just saying.
It's true.
But could you find your testicles and, like, I don't know, like, do normal things again? Like, I don't get it. I have a friend, I'll just say Allie from Badass Mom. She's been on the program. She is also like, where people are like, are you guys related? She's louder than me, which is
Really?
alarming. Yeah, alarming. But she started Badass Moms with Liz. Hey, Liz. Hi, Allie. She every day in New York, because that's where she lives and works, she is like having people scream in her face, but God love her, she screams right back.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
like also, don't you people have work to do? Have jobs? What
In
is
London,
the thing that
it's like really different here to what it is in New York, because in London we have a migrant crisis that is not like the one that you guys have
same
in
here?
the US. Yeah, no, but it's very different. We have like
Yes,
we
it
have
is.
it's a very different
Specific.
kind of person.
Yes,
It's very specific, and the UK favors migrants and their lives currently over those of the UK citizens. So they come here, they get housing, they get healthcare that's like priority
they do here
healthcare
too.
over ours. They get a salary every month, so they really don't have jobs. They're not even allowed to have jobs. And then these are the people that eventually become UK citizens. And then these are the people that you see marching in their millions on the weekend in London. And it's just a joy to be a Jewish woman on the weekend in London.
And it's so stupid. I like, we're doing this to ourselves, right? I mean, there's in the US there's a company that's like trying to build more steam. It's called Mammoth Nation, and they're like a very conservative company, or they're an online company that's trying to house American based people with American values, their products. And they're like, people, stop shopping at these stores. You're like, we're funding our own demise, right? Like, we have allowed this to happen. And again, it's different, being in the UK, like, versus now that Trump is in office, he is literally like pulling the covers off of things, and we are seeing exactly how this has been not just allowed, but like how people have done things to make this happen. And between the George Soros, like, sorry, there's always like a little vomit that comes into my throat, and the fact that Joe seriously gave him like the presidential something award. Well, he also gave it to freaking crazy ass bitch ass Hillary Clinton, who, by the way, like, at one point I had some respect for her, but she has ruined it for like strong, like any sort of woman who is a strong woman and in politics or leading anything, because now like she's the one that like is, oh, this is who I am. No, bitch, you do not represent me. Bahatz the fucking cha, get out of my way, you hateful shrew. But the anti-Semitism that you were talking about, I think that people don't want to see the steps that it took and how long a lot of this has been, percolating, right? It was planted, and I had this, I had said to Hillel on our last podcast, actually, just the other week, that I was up late at night and, the reruns of old TV shows come on, and there was a Law and Order from the 90s that came on, and I was watching it mostly because I was like, well, I don't know.
I know exactly what one you're talking about.
About the college campus and the and I was like, okay, so I just want to like point this out. So in the 90s, and yes, Law and Order, they say they take things from the headlines. Like, we pointed it out in the 90s that it was a problem. And I mean, what? Just like, this is why is like 30 years later or whatever, I don't know what part of the 90s it was, are we not seeing this? And it is something that I personally think about, that like how, and maybe it's like the part of you that's good, that you dismiss things that are like subtle. You're like, no, that can't be right. But because we dismiss things, or we're like, no, oh, it can't be, there within the first chapter of Night, written by the most amazing person I've ever met in my entire life, Mr. Elie Wiesel, the late Elie Wiesel. Within the first chapter, he talks about the fact that when someone came to the village, and of course they, people thought this guy was crazy because of what he was saying. He was saying they were throwing babies in the air and shooting them, which is true, and it was proven, and there was documentation because the Nazis were sick fucks too, who documented what they were doing. If they had GoPros, they probably would have GoPro'd it just like the terrorists did on October 7th. But people were like, "Oh, he's crazy." They dismissed him because you're like, no, humans don't behave that way. Aval, guess what, guys? Humans don't, but monsters do. And monsters have been infiltrating the human society for a long time. And if we do not stand together, and, Jess, there needs to be, look, I tell people, you don't have to be like me. You don't have to walk around every single day with all of the Judaica that I wear and a shirt that says Zionist AF or a big Israeli flag or my thumbprint Israeli flag gear or my lions or my lioness or whatever it is. You don't have to be that person, but you do have to say what's right.
Yeah.
And I wish there were more people that were willing to do what you do and I do and others do who are putting themselves out there. But I understand, and I'm not telling you you have to, but I just want to say to you, like, thank you so much, because first of all, it's so reassuring to see, like, someone in another area of the world who's saying, no, I'm not going to be silent. Like, I'm sorry, what the hell? Absolutely not. I'm a human first and foremost. And so I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to stand up for other people. Like, I know for a fact, even though we've never met in person, that if like someone who had a disability or anything like that was being picked on, you would be like, yo, stop. Not okay.
100%.
Right. Because you have a soul. So I think we need to overall find that about ourselves again. And even if it's just, little things that you do, to do them. Now, talk about a little bit more about like your personal experiences. I mean, it's not like you sit and hide in your house and you're just like putting these things out. You have a life and you go and you do things, and what is it like going around? Do you have people either like approaching you specifically because of what you're saying, or just because you're Jewish?
So at the beginning, obviously I didn't have as much recognition. However, I did work in an area in London that was very populated with people who absolutely hated me. So from the beginning of this, I was being targeted. I was being laughed at in the streets. Young girls would come up to me and say, "Oh, that's that bitch from TikTok." Ridiculous things. And it was never threatening. Never threatening. I was never scared. None of that. Further down the line, probably about 4 or 5 months into me doing my thing, I got a very threatening phone call on my personal mobile, and I put so much detail into making sure that no one knows who I am. They know where I'm from, and they know my first name and my age. They do not know anything else about me. So how these people got my phone number is beyond me. When that happened, and it was very threatening, at that point I had the police involved, and I installed security at my house, and I took down my mezuzah temporarily, of course, and I took steps to protect myself. Since then, aside from the raging craziness that is in my inbox every single day, I've had no other direct threats, which is brilliant. What I have had, which has been beautiful and amazing, is that sadly I am pretty much the only creator in the UK doing this all the time. So I have had a lot of love from people in public as well. I do live in a very Jewish area, so if I go out and about, people generally have seen my content, and that kind of thing, when I get recognized for that, is the most incredible thing. Not for the recognition, I don't care. It's more for the fact that I'm actually being seen, and what I'm saying is being heard. And if it's being heard by my people, then it's being heard by other people. And if I can even make one pro-Palestinian raise their eyebrow, or at least even have a question in their mind about what they're saying, then I'm doing the best work that I can. So that for me is the best, most gratifying thing about everything I'm doing.
Yeah, and so just so you guys know, all of the ways to follow Jess legally and what she is saying is okay, like her social media feeds, we are going to post in the description of the podcast today. And of course, you will see her stuff shared by me, by other people, by our mutual friend, Mr. Hillel Fooled, who, thank you, Hillel, again, for reposting what he had seen before I saw it, and reposted it. So that's how I had found you. But I do think it's important that what you said, you're like, look, if one other person, so right, if someone shares what you're saying again, and you're like, no, it's not for the followers, it's not for the notoriety, it's like if one more person shares it, and one of the people that sees their share is someone who's like kind of been a sheep and just kind of going what they heard, or they were perhaps just part of like some of these protests because it looked cool and sounded right or something, I don't know, it's like, wait a minute, that girl seems like she's totally giving me factual information, is calm, is super adorable, by the way, like, you're so cute. Then like maybe I should just perhaps give it a ponder, think about it for a few, maybe she's right. Like, another thing, Jess, which I always think is funny. Now, you are very positive on, and collected, and so kol hakavod on that. I'm not always as collected. Sometimes I'm just really.
I'm British. It's
I
different.
know it's all right. So I need to go to spend some time to find out how to be British. So like,
Come
I
to
think
London.
people would be like, you stupid American.
Come to London. We'll give you some tea. We'll sit you down. We'll have some sandwiches, and you'll be cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, I mean, and if any of the royal family want to meet with me so I can inform them on like, how I just think that, if they took 2 seconds to think about things, it would be better, because I like to tell people that they're wrong or what they're doing wrong. I do enjoy it.
Tell that to our Prime Minister first. He's more important for now.
Yeah, ring ring, call me on my cell phone. I put all my numbers out there, so and it's sometimes I think like, oh, I haven't had any threats in a while. I was like, oh, maybe I'm not saying enough, but like, what's the problem? No, but I do think it's really worth noting. And I'm sure that you could be like, it would take less than 2 seconds for you to pull up any of the documentation of this. For the most part, when people are advocating on behalf of Israel, which is advocating on behalf of peace, which is advocating on behalf of humanity, and a country that is fighting for love, we fight for love. They love to fight. Okay. Now, when we are doing these things, we are, or we have gatherings or rallies. See, sounds nice. It's positive. We'll have music. We'll have, posters and signs, and we're saying and pleading, "Let our people go," or "Bring them home" is, a phrase. Well, it's not "bring them home." It's "let our people go." Really.
Definitely.
And so it's crazy. We're praying for peace. We're demanding our people be returned, and we're talking about facts. They're screaming and yelling, praising murderous terrorists who, by the way, you dumb fucks, see, not British, they will kill you too. They just want to get Jess and I first. Well, Bahat's the fucking cock, because it's not going to happen. But they'll come for you, dum-dums. And the West is next. Avalo, the West is now. Achshav, it's now. Sorry, guys. So there's, yay, they're like, and Hillel said this perfectly. He's like, 1 minute they're yelling, ceasefire now. Okay, first of all, learn what that actually means. Okay. And then they're praising, and they're like calling for worldwide intifada. Do you know what that means?
The worst is that for me, the worst thing is that the disingenuity of them screaming genocide for 16 whole months. We've had to hear that bloody word.
Do you think they know what that word means, Jess?
They don't, because now all of a sudden, miraculously, as of a week and a half ago, it was no longer a genocide. Now it's a victory. Now they've won. What have they won? What have they won?
Okay.
And I've asked that question to pro-Palestinians. What have you won? Lay it out for me on a table. Please tell me what you've won in this war. No one can give us an answer. No one. But all of a sudden, it wasn't a genocide. They've won. It makes no sense. It hurts my brain.
So they're the winning victims.
They say, oh, we've won in the media war, the propaganda. This isn't a war of propaganda. This is a war of real lives and real people. So they might have won in the media and with the Gen Z blue-haired lunatics who run riot with their nipples out. They might have won that. But good luck to them. I don't claim these people. I couldn't think of anything worse than claiming these people. I would rather see have them, keep them. I see victory as my people home and safe, Israel not at risk. That to me is victory. This, Gaza being destroyed, having like the weird Gen Z weirdos on your side, that's not a victory. It's not.
Like, I feel like I'm going to cut that and just replay that over and over. You're like, no, please take them. I don't want them. I mean,
it's true though. Have them.
First
I'll
of
give
all,
them to you on a platter. Have them.
I've offered to take out a second mortgage on my home and fly their asses there. I'm like, you want to go stand with Gaza, you purple-haired, nose ring-wearing fruitcake? Sure. Yeah, because please, by the way, make a will so that when you're dead, if your family wants to divvy up your shit, but you're a Gen Zer, so you've never worked, to have no responsibility, you don't have anything anyway, but you're never coming home, sweetie. And the thing is, I'm like, hey, you stupid vessels at Columbia University. First of all, you defaced a historic building. Loser. And then you're like writing that I should die, but you can't spell it correctly. It's like 3 freaking letters. Oh my God. How the hell did you get into Columbia? It's supposed to be like, oh, but they had a thing. I actually think it was Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, by the way, the new department. I don't even know what his title is. He's the guy who's now in charge of the armed services. Pete Hegseth. Yeah. You are invited officially. Jess will also come on and co-host. I have a feeling.
I'm down. Come.
I mean, not for nothing. I think it's funny that everyone was going after his character and stuff, but I was like, and they were like attacking him for being good looking and put together. I'm like, okay, hateful shrews. But he had I think it was him. If not, whoever it is at Fox, if it wasn't Pete, I'm sorry. And you were also, everyone at Fox is always welcome to come collaborate on the Zionist AF podcast. But there was a program they had called Poison Ivy. And it's like, it's true because it's Harvard, it's Yale. And I live very close to Yale University. And I'm just like, excuse me, this is just disgusting. But how is it that, you want to say, oh, like the Ivy Leagues are the way to go, or colleges or whatever. You shouldn't be able to do you shouldn't even be able to like get out of kindergarten if you can't spell that one sentence correctly. I mean, you should never write it because it's hateful, but like, dear God, how is this possible? And I don't know what like the what the thing that would be comparable if you're seeing that like level of stuff in the UK, but it's like, when did like that become a thing? We're gonna spray paint walls, and
it became a thing when the world leaders, Biden, Kamala,
wow, you're really pulling out the brain trust there.
I know. Well, it's the same here. It's Keir Starmer, our leader, is horrendous. It became the norm for these people to take precedence because they value wokeness now above education and above intelligence. It's like, you can be really smart and you can be really intelligent, but if you're not woke and you're not conscious of diversity and equality, then you don't fit the mark. These universities like the Columbias, the Yales, the Oxfords, the Cambridges in the UK, these people don't just look at your intelligence anymore. They look at your portfolio on who you sort of are as a human being. And they love wokeness. And I'm like a really anti-wokeness human being, because I think it's just ruining society. I think that when beliefs and opinions that aren't constituted by like intelligence start to take precedence over genuine reality, facts, studies, education, books, we're in trouble. And that's where it's all gone wrong. And that's why these universities are the way they are today.
Don't you also find it ironic, Jess, that this phrase is woke when you are the least awake, when you go with this woke mentality?
100,000,000%.
I'm like, nobody else like ever talks about that. By the way, if someone, steals my phrase, come on, just credit me. Come on, it's real. But so one of our friends of Zionist AF, her Instagram is Magay, MAGAY_45 Rachel. Rachel's brilliant, and she is outspoken supporter of Trump. She's Israeli. She's from Ashkelon. She's been on our podcast. She is outspoken for her gay community. She is outspoken against the grooming of children, and she she has values that someone might be like, oh well, that's not this and that's not that. No, like, she's a human being. She's amazing. She's strong. She is one of the people that you will see out there always reminding people how many days it's been. And she's never been afraid to be honest and real. And sometimes you see her angry, and sometimes you see her sad, and sometimes she's just exhausted, and sometimes she's full of joy, because she's a human and she's not pretending. She's just giving you reality, right? And it's like, I don't understand how sometimes this like actual reality is so warped by people. And I don't even know how to quite say, if we just did X, Y, and Z, we would right this ship that has crashed into an iceberg, sank down, pulled into hell, thrown back up through the Kraken, and then I don't even know. It's like, sometimes I'm just out of words and baffled. And I think myself a relatively intelligent person with multiple degrees, back when you had to actually perform intellectually and academically to receive set degrees.
Yeah.
And I'm without words at times. And I think we in the United States are seeing a shift. And thank you, Donald Trump, again. Anytime you'd like to. Also, the new press secretary, I love her. She's just,
so do I. Straight to the point.
Also, I'm sorry. Can we just? That's intelligence right there. She's young. Yeah. She is talented. She is not afraid. I'm like, oh, finally.
Yeah.
someone given a job for their merits. But I feel like I have optimism. I mean, I try to always be optimistic, and I have to say that I will never stop talking about the bad things that have happened and will continue to happen if we do not stand firm. But I'm always going to shout out people like yourself when I find someone else who's being the light, who's being positive, who's showing, that no matter what, you can, here's the thing that I think is true. You can try to make us victims, and you can victimize us, but we will never be victims. You can try, but we will never be victims. And I don't understand why this idea of being a victim is it was made to be sexy or something. That's why all these people are out in the street. And I'm glad that here in the US we're seeing this change with the new administration. And people have, quite frankly, people say, I want to reclaim my American values. Yes, for the love of God, please. Oh, I said God, Jess. Oh my God, that's so not woke.
I love that. Say it as much as you like. But I agree with you. This is the thing that I always say, right, is I started doing this at the beginning of this war. I was doing debates. So I was going on live panels and arguing with a lot of people. And they would always turn around to me, I'm like the least victimy person on planet Earth. They would say to me, you're playing the victim. And I would say to them, guys, I don't think you understand. Firstly, I'm so far from the victim, it's unbelievable. But aside from that, if you are calling, if you're saying to me, you are playing the victim, that's because you are victimizing me. I'm not choosing to be a victim of your wicked ways. You are making me a victim. Just like the people on October the 7th. If they were never attacked, they wouldn't have been victims. We're not playing the victims. You're making us the victims. But if you want to make us the victims, by all means, go ahead. There will be people like me who will never allow you to make me a victim. And that's what I think is amazing about a lot of people that have come out of the woodworks being really strong advocates since October the 7th, is that we've all had the same mentality that we will never be victims again because we have been in the past. And that's the best thing about this.
And I think that's so. I couldn't agree with you more. No, but you said it really, really perfectly because, look, let's go ahead and throw this out there. So people are trying to bring like 1930s Germany back. Now, I do think that, look, that was a very different time period. There was no such thing as social media. You had to tune into the radio at a specific time for news. People were not jetting from here to there. People did not have the kind of vehicles that you could just drive. It transported everything. Ooh, I just hit my mic. I was so excited. Everything was different, right? It was not as evolved. So when information like needed to be shared, it was a slower process. It wasn't this 3 seconds. At least they were doing more fact checking and actual reporting, but that's neither here nor there. So like people, I can understand how this it spread in a sense of like, no, that can't be right. Like, no way. If that was real, I would know. We would have seen it. We would have heard it. Well, we now are living in a society where you could have seen live footage of terrorists raping women, murdering innocent civilians, dismembering bodies, doing things that are so horrific. Not only should they never even be in the worst, sickest Hollywood film ever, but it should not have ever happened and most certainly not been broadcast. So we have all of those facts. And yet, like you said, it's either like, oh, well, you're just playing a victim, or, oh, you are making stuff up. I don't like, it's like, I'm sorry. It is like
it's
reality.
Gymnastics.
That's such a British way of saying it.
It is though. It is. They
Mental
can't make up their
gymnastics.
minds. They just can't. It's the genocide and it's the victory. It's the starvation and it's the, oh my God, we're going to have a lovely meal to celebrate the ceasefire. It's the ceasefire now and it's the intifada. It's just mental gymnastics. They can't make up their minds. And that's because they decide to go with whatever suits their narrative at the given time. And then, that's why they don't actually have a narrative, because it just falls apart.
Yeah, they're just like a feather that floats in the wind from one way to another. Like, yeah, one day you're right. They're screaming, oh, we're starving. And then the same people like the very next day are like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they, of course, don't call them hostages. They're fed very well.
Exactly. It's like a constant, like they are walking oxymorons. They are just constantly negating themselves. Whereas, and I always like to sort of compare us to them, because we can't negate ourselves, because everything that we say comes with a fact, it comes with a source, it comes with a reference, it comes with images, videography. We will bring it all. We'll happily bring it all. We've always had to prove ourselves, so we're used to it. But these people will just say whatever works for them at the time, and the sheep will believe them until it's disproven. And then at that point, it will just be tucked under the rug, like what someone like the Washington Post will do, where they'll publish a really damning article, and then there'll be proof that comes out that gets, that ruins the article, and then they'll just silently delete the article, but the damage is already done. And this is what people are doing now, and it's very detrimental. But it's not going to change the reality on the ground. It's not going to change the reality of the Israeli people. So they can keep trying. Let them try.
It's true. Like, like you're saying, like, okay, so technology has advanced, so more of these people can spread lies. We're okay, fine. But guess what? Jess is here. I'm here. Other people are here. We're also going to use technology, except we're going to bring you facts. We're going to bring you truth. We're going to remind you of history. We're going to show you openly reality. So I'm going to go ahead for a prop on this one. Here we go. So, Bahatz fucking cha.
Preach.
And there you go. It's 6
Love
times
that.
on the back. Yeah. I'm going to try to get that where the dog won't get to it because I can't quite hang it back up. There's the logistics of that are a little too hard. It's off camera. So, Jess, if someone is in your region and would like to perhaps learn more, we're going to have your information up. By the way, guys, I'm sure, and you can contact Jess through the approved posted ways that we put up on the podcast or by reaching out to me. Jess is obviously able to speak, virtually, in person, whatever, like that's between you and her. But there are resources. And if you are someone who is like, Jess, I just love what you're doing and I want to give you some support, we are going to give you ways to contact Jess. Okay. Jess is obviously, she knows this already. Open invitation whenever she wants to come out on the podcast and shout stuff out. We are here. She will be here. If you guys want to see more of her, you can also just let me know. I mean, you could let her know too, but you could let me know. But I think like something that you have said a few times while we've been talking, and I like to just point out to people things that they say, because sometimes we say things and we don't realize how great they are. You talked about why you're doing what you're doing from a place inside of you. You talked about this. It's emotional and it's intellectual. What is pushing you? What is part of you to say, hey, I'm not going to be silent. I'm not going to let you spread lies. I'm going to say the truth. I'm going to do what I need to do. Or however it is that you are, whatever it is you're talking about that day, or like, hey, let me tell you what like happened to me when I was walking down the street. Okay. But you're doing this. You're not like, okay, let me see. Do I think I can like make a bunch of money doing this? Like you didn't Kim Kardashian situation. Sorry, bitch, it's true. Not a role model.
No.
But I also blame her mother. Like, oh dear God. And I'm a parent, so I can say these things.
I'm not, but I agree.
Oh, because you're smart and you see what is going on. But you talk about this from that point of view, and you're like, this is not what I am doing professionally. This is not what I was like, oh, here, let me go into a career where I put myself in front of the camera and put a bullseye on my back and my front and whatever. Like, no, you're doing this because it's true. It's genuine. It's in your neshama. It's part of you. And I think that is something that oftentimes the sheep, the confused, I'm not so sure about the hateful, because some of those, they're just wastes. Like you're not going to change. You can't fix stupid, and you can't reason with crazy.
Yeah.
I learned that a long time ago. So they're not functioning from the place that you're functioning. You're functioning out of love. And that's something that no one, no thing, no one can ever take from you or anyone who is speaking up on behalf of Israel. And I want to remind people that speaking up on behalf of Israel is not taking a side. There is no side to this. It's you love peace or you love terrorists. So that's it. Drop the mic. It's over. So if you are someone who is looking for information, there are so many people out there that put out information every day. Obviously, Hillel Food is an amazing source. There are so many other people out there. If you can, listen, Ben Shapiro, by the way, also welcome anytime. He knows that. I don't know how he talks so fast.
He is an icon. Him and Douglas Murray. Douglas Murray is the UK's Ben Shapiro. Both of them are incredible, but he does talk very fast. And I talk fast, but he talks faster.
I was going to say, they talk faster, both of them. So perhaps maybe they want to come on to Zionist AF and we'll have a girls versus boys who could talk faster. I think they're going to beat us with the talking faster, but we could be more emotional about it.
More vivacious.
I mean, I've met Ben Shapiro and I've been to things where he's speaking, and I said to him once, I was like, first of all, I just love how you spank the hell out of people so fast, and it's because he talks so fast as well that it's like they don't even know what happened to them. He just eviscerates them in then 10 seconds or less.
They literally can't keep up. They cannot keep up. But that's the brilliant thing about him, is that in all honesty, these people don't even need to sort of keep up because they chat so much shit that they're never actually listening to what's going on anyway. So the way that Ben shuts them down within 10 seconds is
I love
what I
it.
aspire to do, because we're going to shut them down eventually. It just might take us 30 minutes. It will take him 10 seconds. Incredible.
I mean, he's incredibly intelligent, but I don't know how he's fine-tuned the fast talking. I can talk really, really fast when I'm emotional and stuff, but I don't know that he's so poised about it. And I'm not sure where he learned to do that. I'm kind of wondering if maybe he was always like that. I don't know, but
can he teach me?
Again, Ben, welcome. Jess and I we can do video chats. We can do Zooms, Google Meets, whatever company you want. Jess and I are very amenable. We are willing to work with you, Ben Shapiro.
Whatever you want, anything.
I say this, and I said to Hillel the last podcast, I really am so inspired by him on a daily basis, and his whole family. I mean, really, the inner strength that they have had to have again, with the murderer of his brother Ari being released in the last exchange. I don't want to but I don't know how he is able to do what he does, and we are all better for it. I'm sure he's not going to like that. I'm just saying all these nice things, but he's going to have to deal with it. He gets enough hate that he can have people shout him out with love instead of hate every now and again. But it's important. And I think, some days, Jess, I'm not having the best day. And I'm just why do I have to do this? But then I have this thing where you came across my screen. And I'm like, okay, this is why. Because she can't ever feel like she's the only one. Or she needs to know that she's appreciated. Because it's not easy, guys. It's not easy. I mean, sure, we're laughing about it and joking about it. But it's not great to know that, by doing the right thing, you've now put yourself in physical harm. But I choose to laugh about it because I'm sorry, I'm not gonna let them get to me. I tell people all the time, go ahead, threaten all you want. If you act on it, it will be the last mistake you ever make.
I just say, make an example of me. Go for it. Like, with pleasure, do it. Because you know very well.
We're all cowards.
But they know very well that if they ever did anything to me, this is not a threat. The repercussions in the press and the media, because again, I will just use my intelligence rather than my strength because I don't have much. I'm 5'0". But I will just take everything that they've ever done to me and it will be blasted around the world. So I say to them, please make an example of me. Happily. They won't touch me because of that, because they know.
Listen, good things come in small packages, 1. And 2, you can be lethal and still tiny. Just saying.
True.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Underestimate Jess. Go ahead. Last mistake you ever make.
They don't know what we're like. They definitely don't know what I'm like. I wouldn't say I'm fearless, but I would say they don't know like the inner strength that I have and the way that it's so beyond caring. I don't care about these people. I'm more than happy for them to flood my DMs. I'm more than happy for them to make baseless threats. They don't know me. They don't know how little it affects me. They don't know my my life. They don't know what I've been through in my personal experience. This is so beyond. I've been on this planet for 28 and a half years before October the 7th happened. They don't know me. They cannot scare me one bit. They have no idea.
I do think it's so perfectly said there because it's like, you're like, I don't care about you, but holy crap, like that is, you clearly care a lot about me. Wow. And not thank you, but sorry for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
okay. I'm really sorry. This must be like a little bit embarrassing for you because I don't know who you are. And you've been sending me 30 threats a day for 6.5 months.
Why won't you?
It's like a little, like I have a bit of like an inner cringe when I go into my DMs and I see that these people some of them have DM'd me every day for like a year.
Listen, you sad sack, get a life.
Get a job. Get a job.
No,
honestly.
What did you do today? You woke up, sent you something stupid, probably sent at least a dozen other people some hateful thing. Like, how do you look at yourself in the mirror? Like, well, actually, they probably don't ever look in the mirror. And this is like, they don't have enough wherewithal to do anything. And they probably never leave their mom's basements or something. I don't know, but like, wow. It's true. And I hope that more of our Zionist AF family, and by the way, I'm sorry in advance. My father, I love. Hi, Dad. I'm glad you're better. My dad just got over pneumonia. But my dad used to call in when we had a live podcast, an audio podcast. He would call in every time, and I was like, Dad, you don't have to call in, but thank you. So my dad is one of the. He's very cute. Well, he used to tell me that I talked too much as a child, and he was like, well, you're going to have to like find a job where you get paid to talk or something. So I'm always like, joke's on you, Dad. This isn't my job, but like, yes, my job, my actual job, I do get paid to actually do that. So, but he's probably going to, send you a message on the Instagram of the World Wide Web. He always puts the in front of it. I think it's funny.
I love that.
So if you get a DM from Mark, it's my dad.
Hi, Mark.
Because he's gonna be like, keep shining light. I'm proud of you, or something.
I love that, Mark. I'll be waiting. I'm ready.
Yeah, she needs like a little light every so often in all of that like junk. But guys, the reality is, yes, Jess and I are laughing and joking about it. But if someone is trying to get a hold of you, again, yes, does Jess sit at home all day long doing nothing? No, she has a life and a job. So Therefore, if you are trying to get a hold of her and you're having any sort of trouble, you can always message me. And if I make sure that everything's on the up and up, obviously I'll pass it along to her as well. But because I want us to grow together, right? Together, we shine way more light when we not only accept someone's light, but want to shine our light with them. And so in the spirit of keeping things, understandable for the ignorant. See, I used ignorant, not stupid, Jess. See, you're rubbing off on me
That was
already.
good. That was
Your
very
UK-ness. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm not gonna insult you by doing a fake British accent, which I'm sure I suck at. So, but
I love it. No one can ever get it.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I'm not good at that stuff. I do a fake Russian accent very well, but
Okay, that's good.
my name's Anya, so I get yelled at in Russian a lot. And I'm like, I don't understand you, but okay. Seem
But
angry.
that's fun.
Yeah. Yay. So in the spirit of rhyming, this is truly a we, not me. Wait for it. Gam. Anachnu lo ani. In English and in Hebrew, it rhymes. Therefore, it must be true.
Epic. Love it. Put it on a t-shirt.
I do have somewhere on the Zionist AF shop. So also, guys, if you're looking for stuff, if you're someone who wants to, be promoting what Jess is doing or what we're trying to do here on the Zionist AF family through the podcast, through the shop, which is bring light to people, spread truth, spread positivity, remind others that we are inherently human, and do the right thing. And so, as you know, Jess, because we've talked about, and our Zionist AF family for the most part knows, I mean, if they're part of the family, they know. If they're just the haters, then Bahat's the fucking Khan anyway. Yeah, good, buy my shit, because your stuff goes to Israeli charities. We are using the proceeds to donate to Israeli nonprofits. Our goal right now is to try to really work hard to make donations specifically to those who are working with the soldiers, working with wounded soldiers, working with, helping them with PTSD, with the physical and the non-physical. No country does enough for those who sacrifice and fight. But in Israel, it is mandatory. It's not, it's not like in the US, it's voluntary, but it's mandatory, and we need to do the right thing. So if you're interested in finding out more about like what's going on in the UK community, if you're interested in finding out more like in supporting those who are doing the right thing, if you're interested in finding out more about Israel, finding out which nonprofits to support, finding out Jess's favorite place to eat when she's in Tel Aviv, I don't know. That is how we try to end our podcast, Jess. No matter what we're talking about, we like to talk about food a bit.
Okay.
So
hit me.
People have a lot of some have very firm beliefs about food in the Middle East, specifically Israel. Some people are not really aware of the diversity. But I want you to, now this is where we are free reign here on Zionist AF. You could pick a type of food or a specific place, but I need to know, like, when you land in Israel and you're having the feeling and you're like, okay, I want to know what is the first thing you eat when you get there, if it's something you can control, right? And then, like, what would be it when you have to leave, because you don't reside in Israel? When you have to leave, is there one last thing you have to have or somewhere you have to go? What is it?
It's the same. It's when I get there and when I leave. It's the same thing. I have to get a schnitzel wrapped in laffa with hummus, preferably on a beach, and then as a side dish, I'm going to get an aroma frappe coffee, or those lovely passion fruit frappes that they do on the beach. Either or will do, but it is the same thing when I land and when I fly out. I always have to have my schnitzel, laffa, hummus, tahini, Israeli salad, all in a big fat wrap. That's my favorite.
What about the machbucha? Do you like the spicy?
I love a little bit.
Okay,
I
a little
can't
bit.
handle much spice, but I'm
Okay.
here for a little bit.
Okay.
I just like them to load it all up. I'm like, put anything in it, enjoy, go to town. all I really care about is the schnitzel. That's the best bit. But
Okay,
it's the same
fair.
every time. Every
Okay,
time.
so I promise you this: when you come to visit, once I am settled, we will do that, aval. But I want to see if we can. Maybe what we'll do is, this might be a great idea. So I'm one of the go-to is definitely, but it's for me, it's schnitzel on challah. Okay.
Nice.
But I want the machbucha and I want a lot of it, right? Which, like, I'm good if they ask me that question at the beginning, because when they hear my American Hebrew, my American accent Hebrew, they're like, they think I don't want spicy. I'm like, no, like more. And the fried eggplant is also makes me very happy. And I'm not really an ice cream person, though I do have Golda here and there because it's delish. But I would like to take you to the best ice cafe place that my tour operating friend who's been on the podcast, Jonathan. Hi, Jonathan. He's like, I'm gonna take you to the best iced cafe place. And I was like, all right, whatever. And I was like, I do think it's funny that Israelis love this frozen coffee thing.
I love.
Obsessed.
I love it.
So there is a place in Java, and it actually is just, quite frankly, delicious. And
amazing.
if you're wondering, I'm gonna put them on the description, and they're on my Instagram, because I was like, holy crap, this really is that good. So we can do a welcome, and I know you have to go and I'm sad, but come back again soon meal, and we can even, like, we could get one lafa, one challah of the sandwiches, and we can start asking people on the street, like, we could put a big chart or something and be like, which one are you on, Jess's side or my side? Because see, that's where you can pick sides, Jess. Lafa or challah?
I think I'll win. I'm very competitive. I'll talk them into it.
I was like, are you going to fight dirty? What's going on, Jess? Like, what?
Yeah.
You know what? It's okay. Because, Jess, if I had to lose to a side, I'm more than happy to concede to you, because you are an inspiration. You are gorgeous on the outside and gorgeous and even more gorgeous on the inside. And I thank you for being strong. And I thank you for doing all that you're doing. And I cannot wait to host you in Israel. And I know inside you're laughing because you're like, that's so Israeli. Like, you get there and people are like, are you hungry? Do you want to drink? Like, come over. You can stay with me. Like, you're like,
it's how we are. It's how we are. People wouldn't get it, but we get it. I love it.
Yeah. So please know, we are going to be very happy to host you. I don't know we. I don't know why I'm saying we. Oh, because it's we, not me. It's me and all of Israel. Cool.
Yeah.
But I want to take you to see some of my friends. Like, you must meet Cleela and Hadassah Bao. I don't know why I messed that up. Cleela and Hadassah. Their father, Joseph Bao, was this amazing, amazing artist in Israel, and their parents were Schindler's List survivors. And they have the Joseph Bao Museum with all of his art, but they're so
amazing.
Cute. You're going to be like, oh my God, you must be my new Dodas. I call them Doda Chlila and Doda Hadassah because they're so adorable, and I love them so much. I was talking to Chlila last night. So we're just going to do so much fun stuff and continue to bring light, truth, reality to people. So, Jess, I want to let you get back to your actual life, and thank you for taking the time out for the podcast. And I know we had a lot to say, guys, and yes, this is going to be one of the longer episodes, but we also have the short clips that we always have. So make sure that you guys know, in the description, of course, we will have it, all the ways to follow Jewish Jess on social media. And she is going to have to teach me the ways of TikTok, because I was just not really, I was thinking like, oh yeah, they're going to stop it and they're going to shut it down. And I didn't know what was going on. And I was like, you know what? I have too many other things going through my mind. I can't figure this out right now. So
I will happily teach you. It is the place to be.
Yeah. Liat. We'll all get there. So Jess, thank you for being a we not me, gam anachnu lo ani.
Thank you.
You and I are going to be in touch, of course. And guys, make sure to check out the Zionist AF shop soon because there's going to be a Jewish Jess inspired. What is wrong with me today? Jewish Jess inspired item appearing soon. And listen, we have got to keep shining light. One way or another, we will do this. So Jess, you're a freaking rock star and I love you. And I love that you have your fancy British accent or, and again, I learned North, South London, also stuff. Maybe another podcast will do London geography and learn more about
do
that.
The London geography. I can talk you through the type of people you come across in each neighborhood, in each borough, happily.
Well, Andrew Cotton, who is an amazing, amazing artist who is originally from London, who lives in the U.S. now, he is the one who told us the East-West. He helped us learn about that with very funny stories.
Love that. He's missing out. The biggest Jewish areas, though, north is where it's at.
But we love everyone. Is welcome to listen.
We love everyone.
Listen,
in the context of this,
we love all humans. Yes.
Yes, we do.
Not monsters. And
yes.
And you know what? I'm never going to call them animals because I have 2 dogs and they're beautiful souls. Don't insult my dogs by calling the terrorists animals. They're monsters.
I just call them feral.
See, guys, this is why Jess is here. I just say stupid stuff, and then she says smarter stuff. So, doesn't sound sponsy. All right. So, Jess, thank you so much. You are welcome anytime.
Amazing.